Hello, everybody. Welcome to part two of four of our 2024 Pro Wrestling Awards. This week, we will be doing our top 30 women's wrestlers of 2024. On the contrast from tag team wrestling, I think women's wrestling has been pretty fucking awesome if you ignore the big two, or at least WWE. Yeah, WWE and AEW's inability to competently book a women's division is mind-boggling. And on top of that, Joshi Wrestling is currently looks like that one SpongeBob meme where they're all on fire. But beneath all the controversy is some really solid work. So I want to get into some honorable mentions before we go into the main list. These include Nia Jax, Bozilla, Queen Aminata, Emi Sakura, and Miyu Watanabe. Number 30, Manami. Manami just is just one of my favorite of a constantly rotating cast of characters in a series of awesome Sendai Girls tag main events. She's playing her role as the babyface in Peril incredibly well and shows potential whenever she steps into the ring with her elders. Oh yeah, did I mention that woman is 20? Yeah, sky's the limit for Manami. Number 29, Yu. Yu's just a vibe. Just a very vibes-based wrestler. The physical charisma just shines, whether it's in tags or singles. I've kind of ran out of things to say about Team 200 kilograms, but this won't be the last time you'll be seeing them on these types of lists. I really enjoy Yu's work, whether it's as a tag wrestler or in more of a comedy role. Number 28, Saya Kamitami. With the mini exodus of talent from Stardom, an opportunity to step up is opening, and Saya is one who's taken it in 2024. Just a really solid mid-card heel that's elevated up towards the main event scene in a company desperate for a rebuild. Good stuff all year, especially against her longtime rival, Maika. Number 27, the legend, Maiko Satomura. Fuck WWE for wasting Maiko. Genuinely one of the greatest Joshi wrestlers of her generation, Maiko never gets her flowers because of how little 2000s Joshi is talked about compared to the 90s, 80s, and modern day. It was awesome seeing Satomura be able to get her flowers in Sendai Girls. Now give us that singles match with Aja Kong one last time, you cowards. Number 26, Sarui. Look, if you've seen my other yearly reviews, you should know I have a soft spot for Sarui. Her versus Julia is what got me into Joshi. This definitely feels like a down year for her. A lot of her focus was in tag matches, which Stardom doesn't really highlight, but her run in the 5-star Grand Prix showed flashes of that great wrestler that made the number one spot on my 2020 list. Oh yeah, she also has a 5-star match against Mayu Iwatani on January 4th, so you know, no big deal. Number 25 is Hazuki. Hazuki is another constant in Stardom, holding it down as their high-speed champion for a large chunk of 2024. I'm not in love with the high-speed style. It often feels a bit too choreographed for my liking. Hazuki shows how the style can work in a broader contest X, and she is another name I'm looking to make the next step going into 2025 for Stardom. Number 24, Miku Ayano. See, this list isn't all Stardom. Sometimes it's Marigold, the offshoot of Stardom in a way. The obvious highlights of Hayashida, Julia, and Sari kind of overshadow the rest of Marigold, but Miku Reano is a highlight on the same level as the other three. In July, she has two matches back to back, and they're both really good. All year, she plays the babyface veteran role very well. Someone I'm sure Marigold is glad to have on their roster as they raise the next generation. Number 23 is Veni. She may not be the best in Sendai Girls, but Veni might be my favorite on the roster. All of her offense looks incredible all of the time. She's one of the best offensive wrestlers in the world, any gender, any part of the world, period. The fact she's able to keep up with and at times outperform people like Hashimoto, Sari, and Mayu Iwatani gives you everything you need to know. Definitely someone to look out for in 2025 and one of the most underrated women in the world. Number 22 is Athena. The queen of last year has fallen. Some would even call her a fallen goddess. Please kill me, it's 2 a.m. as I write this. This drop in placement has nothing to do with Athena herself. On a good day, she's easily top 10 in the world, but this year it just feels like there was less attention on her. Still some very strong stuff throughout the year on Ring of Honor, but nothing that reaches the level of the Willow matches or the Kiera Hogan match from last year. Athena should probably drop the belt soon, because if she's allowed to cook in the main AEW sphere, she'll be back to the top by next year. Number 21, Natsupoi from Stardom. One of the best they got over there. Natsupoi is one of the most likable wrestlers in Japan, a true ace of the company, and one of the most fun wrestlers to watch. Her run in the 5-star Prix is one of the best of the tournament. Number 20, Mika Iwata over in Sendai Girls. She was the top champ until she lost it to Michael Satomura, is someone I'm hot and cold on. On offense, she's one of the best with her hard hitting, nasty kicks and really damn good tight suplexes. On defense, however, she's not the best. When it comes to selling the physicality of moves, she's really good, but when it comes to selling with her facial expressions, the kind of uh, emotion of a match, she's a bit unemotive. This isn't necessarily a deal breaker. Her offense is enough to carry her most of the time. But when she's put against similarly unexpressive wrestlers like Saori Ano over in Stardom, things can get a bit shaky. Number 19, Miyu Yamashita. I think this is a controversial opinion, but I like Yamashita more than Watanabe when it comes to being the best Tokyo G Pro wrestler. Wrestling is kind of simple sometimes. A lady who kicks are really hard is all I need in life. The one thing that keeps Yamashita back is just the limited amount of TJPW I've watched this year. Number 18, Sayuri Ano. I don't really know what to say, but Soriano, she's a wrestler I'm kind of low on, but her consistent work has been undeniable this year, so she gets the number 18, I guess. Number 17 is the glamour Mariah May, possibly the wrestler that's improved most in 2024. Mariah May is living proof that when booked well, with solid booking and opponents, you can easily cover up a wrestler's limitations. That's no shade on May. She's been solid all year, especially when it comes to her character work. She's so much more natural as a heel with a smug ass evil grin and a scathing, egotistical, and intelligent promo. Even without a lot of focus in the latter half of the year, her title run has been carried by her ability to work as a heel and garner sympathy for opposing babyfaces. There is some solid work in the latter half of the year with the October match against Willow and the, I believe, November street fight match against Anna Jay. Number 16 is Mercedes Moné. Mercedes gets a lot of hate online, and there's two reasons for that. Sure, the Brit match sucked, but like it's Britt Baker, so I don't know what you guys thought was gonna happen. You're not gonna get a fucking career-defining moment out of a Britt Baker match. When it comes to bumping for opponents bigger than her, there's no one better. Additionally, her offense feels aggressive but like sloppy in a good way. It feels like you're fighting a spider monkey. She'll just throw herself at you, pull your hair, gouge your eyes, and lock in a hole with her entire body strength. I don't think monkeys can do face locks, but that's besides the point. All she needs now is a non-submission finisher that doesn't suck ass, and Mercedes will be back to being the best women's wrestler in the world. She was pretty close this year as well. Number 15, over in Stardom, Starlight Kid. For the second year in a row, Starlight Kid places just one spot above Monet. She's just so automatically aesthetically pleasing. The tiger mask, how she carries herself, it's easy to understand why she's such a mainstay in Stardom. No matter what, tag or singles, face or heel, you're gonna get quality when you have Starlight Kid on your card. Number 14, possibly the most hyped women's wrestler of the year, Julia. There's a reason she's handpicked as the Joshi of the modern age. I'm not as big of a fan of Julia as others are, or the wider internet wrestling scene in general. Often her performances, depending on opponent, feel like sloppy and kind of uncooperative in a bad way. But when she has the right circumstances and she's on her game, she's one of the best in the world. Someone who can take a boring NXT women's division and make it the hottest thing in North America. Number 13, Timeless Tony Storm. This year, AEW had their masterclass when it came to women's wrestling with the Mariah May and Tony Storm story. It feels like everything finally clicked with the Timeless character this year, especially in the ring. This is the first time we've truly gotten peak Stardom Storm in the US, easily the best women's championship reign in AEW's short history. She briefly made us believe that the future was bright for women's wrestling and mainstream American wrestling, but um, back down the shitter that whole idea goes. Number 12 is Io Sky. Fuck WWE. This is a phrase we can use for hundreds of things, but let's stick to this. Fuck WWE for not having Io Sky be the focus of their women's division. Instead, we should have Rhea and Liv as our world champions because fuck Rainmaker, am I right? It's crazy her best work this year is her one match in Japan against Utami Hayashida, although also the Bailey match was also damn good. I don't even like Utami Hayashida that much. It's just so goddamn good, just like a perfect pro wrestler. And once again, fuck WWE. Number 11, just barely missing out on the top 10, is Chris Statlander, a true pillar of AEW's women's division. Chris Statlander is someone who time and time again forces you to give a shit about whatever she's doing by pure willpower. Chris, in the span of 3 months, gave us the two best women's matches in AEW in 2024. She's a goddamn beast, highly athletic, ruthless as a heel, and a master at gaining sympathy as a babyface. Give her a title, you cowards. Number 10 is Mio Momono, one half of the second best tag team in Sengai Girls with Eureka Oka. I will not try to pronounce the name of that tag team. There's not much I can say that I haven't already said about the other Sendai girl. She's really fucking good, and the tag rivalry with Team 200 Kilograms is one of the best in Japan this year for any rivalry, men or women's. Number 9 is the kind of new ace of Stardom, Nakano. Despite injury taking her out of action for a good chunk of the beginning of the year, the current top star of Stardom could not be stopped upon return, instantly reassuring herself as one of the best in the world, having a killer run in the 5-star Grand Prix, and then winning her title back and beating her rival Suzu Suzuki, all in the span of just a few months. Nakano hasn't missed a beat since coming back, and she is one of maybe the biggest highlight in Stardom right now. Number 8 is Azume. This year got a lot of Americans to introduce to a Joshi favorite in Azume. I complained earlier about the high speed style, but Azume is one who makes it work better than anyone. Her stock has definitely raised much higher this year as people in the West got to see the highly athletic, fast paced, and exciting style she brings to the table. Her incredible match recently, it doesn't go into consideration for this list, but in the Tokyo Dome in 2025 against Mayu Iwatani is just the cherry on top of an incredible year for Azume. Number 7 is Masha Slamovich, the queen of the American independent scene. Masha is someone you just always want to see wrestle. Her versatility is unmatched, not just because of her work in intergender matches facing both men and women. She can be an underdog and a dominant force, a great seller, incredible mat work, and striking game. Whether it's bloodsport, shoot style, death matches, Joshi, or the big American style main events, Masha is a personal favorite of mine, and I can't wait to see what she does going forward. Number 6, Suzu Suzuki, the most underrated Joshi wrestler in the world. Suzu Suzuki feels like the Vegeta of Stardom, a brutal, tough brawler that doesn't give a fuck about anyone. She carries herself much differently than most in the company, who carry themselves more like, pop idols, but in comparison, Suzu Suzuki carries herself just like a fighter. It makes sense why she's always placed towards the top, but never as the main champion. Suzuki is able to drag something out of the top faces like Nakano and Maika that most can't. The chaotic force of Stardom, Suzu Suzuki, is someone I'm hoping finally takes the final step in her ascension to the top in 2025. Finally, we're into the top five with Willow Nightingale. Last year saw the rise of Willow Nightingale, and in 2024, it truly only continued. The TBS reign was fun, if a little bit too short for my liking, but it did lead to a fantastic match with Monet at Double or Nothing. It's a tough balancing act between being a when it comes to being a babyface powerhouse. You don't want to be too dominant because you'll be perceived gets more heel reactions, but Willow's selling and natural likability is second to none. The energy that she brings every time she's in the ring is straight up infectious. Common theme is her limb selling, usually off the knee, and she's always able to get the sympathy from the crowd required for that type of match. Throw in her low key athleticism, and you have one of the most obvious stars for the future of American pro wrestling. I love Willow Nightingale and will continue to sing her praises going into 2025. Number four is Micah. With the departure of Julia and Utami Hayashida and the injury of Tom Nakano, a spot at the top of Stardom was left open earlier this year. The spot would be quickly filled by the fiery red-headed powerhouse in Micah. It was a tough position for Micah, replacing Julia, trying not to feel like a transitional champion for Nakano. Micah feels like one of the most credible women on the roster, an incredible Hulk-up wrestler when it comes to throwing the big bomb. She's one of the best. Her run as champ is easily one of Joshi's biggest success stories this year. Number three is Chihiro Hashimoto. God, she's so fucking cool. She might be my absolute favorite women's wrestler in the world right now. Chihiro Hashimoto, for those who need a comparison, is the love child between Tomohiro Ishii and Kurt Angle. She activates this animal like part of my brain that just goes rabid during her matches. The suplexes are the highlights, throwing motherfuckers around, dropping them on their neck. When things need to slow down, however, she's also great on the mat with a strong amateur wrestling background. Then, when it's time for the third act, traditional slugfest, she can throw some haymakers, tight ass elbows, and clotheslines that will tear your head off. Oh, yeah, she's also has the best hot tag in the world, not named Claudio Castagnoli. I can't stress how much I love Hashimoto. Watch every match of hers you can find online. It's a formula that never gets old, whether it's in tag or singles. Number two is the ace of the world, Mayu Iwatani. One of only three wrestlers, male or female, that has multiple five-star matches this year by my count. Micah may be the top star of Stardom, but even after a decade, Mayu is still the ace of the company. Is there a better pure babyface in the world than Mayu Iwatani? I'm not confident there is. She's also uses her veteran status to give a lot to the younger generation, as challengers from all across Japan come over to take a bite out of the queen. She's the IWGP champion, a title that holds stakes beyond just stardom. Mayu Iwatani is stardom, the soul, the spirit, the beautiful heart of the company. It would take a true all-time run from someone across multiple promotions, across, the entire country of Japan all year to top Mayu Iwatani's 2024 from her matches with Tony Storm, her run in the five-star Grand Prix. Just, it would take a once-in-a-generation run to top this. And that came with our number one, Sari. If Mayu Iwatani was the ace of Stardom, Sari was the ace of the whole country of Japan. Instead of sticking to one promotion after her release from the WWE, Sari would instead go all over the place, giving both Stardom and Sendai Girls and possibly Marigold, the three probably biggest outside Toshio Joshi Pro Wrestling, the three biggest Joshi promotions, their best matches of the year, while also being the top champion of Marigold outsider, that challenger after challenger has stepped up to reclaim the title just to be kicked back down the mountain. Sari this year has been a goddamn beast, to be honest. I don't see her falling outside the top 10 of this list for the next 5 years. Sari is a goddamn killer. Watch everything you can find of Sari. She is easily the number one women's wrestler in the world for 2024. Join with me next week where we will be getting into the one of the big ones. Our third part of the series will be the men's top 50. Bye.